So President Biden publicly urged no offensive into Rafah, saying that it would cause, I cannot sit back and see another 30,000 deaths in Gaza, and said to Israel that it would cause more damage to the Israeli cause than benefit Israel. Then Netanyahu responds saying, my red line is no more Hamas, no more threats, and by the way, no state, no two-state solutions. So what is Jordan thinking about not just the immediate, but the day after? Because clearly you are the country, one of them, that does believe in a two-state and does have a peace treaty with Israel.
Well, look, Christian, I think it's no coincidence that we're witnessing one of the most violent episodes of this conflict under one of the most hardline, racist governments in Israel's history. Prime Minister Netanyahu, by his own admission, says that his policy was based on divide and conquer, covertly propping up Hamas in order to undermine the Palestinian Authority and then say there's no partner for peace. Last year, even before October 7th, we has set a record in terms of settlement expansion and construction. Just last week, the Israeli government approved plans to build 3,500 more illegal settlements on occupied West Bank land. And sure, some of its allies condemned those plans, but as in previous cases, there's condemnation, but then the plans are carried out. As long as Israel is allowed to get away with breaking international law, as long as its allies don't hold it accountable, it will just increase its sense of impunity. So for years, Israel talks peace, but then condemns it to death by settlements, making a contiguous, independent Palestinian state less viable by the day. And for the longest time, we hear the international community talking about a two-state solution while allowing Israel to create a one-state reality. And so, I think the time for trying to persuade Israel to do the right thing has long passed. It is time for us. We are not, when you look at the horrendous reality that's in Gaza today, it is hard to believe that Israel is being unfairly singled out, that it's being held to a higher standard. Critics of Israel merely wanted to do the bare minimum, which is just abide by international law.
Obviously, you were received at the White House along with the King. You also went to Capitol Hill, where some of the strongest support does reside. What message did you deliver on Capitol Hill, and what did you hear from them?
Well, I think a lot of people need to know more about this conflict, to really understand the intricacies of it, to understand that this is one of the greatest historical injustices, and to understand what the root cause of this issue is, to understand that this conflict did not begin on October 7th, that it was a result of years of occupation, of settlement expansion, of human rights abuses, of disregard for international law. And this is what led us to this point. If we look at Israel today, sometimes you hear the Prime Minister justifying the war by saying that he is doing what the public wants and that the overwhelming majority of Israelis support this war. Well, I refuse to believe that an entire population can look at what's going on in Gaza and be okay with it. In Israel, the dehumanization of Palestinians is systematic. It's ingrained. It is ubiquitous. They believe it. They believe that if we don't kill them, they're going to kill us. And so I blame hardline Israeli leaders for keeping their people in this perpetual state of fear of an existential threat that doesn't exist, and making them feel like just killing Palestinians and killing Hamas is going to be the solution to the problem.
Let me ask you.
The real solution to the problem is to end the occupation. Palestinians do not hate Israelis because of who they are. They hate them because of what they're doing to them. And so if we do the greatest guarantee for Israel's security, and this is what I want to say to what I said to the Americans, if you want to safeguard Israel's security, there is no better way to do it than through a just and comprehensive peace. No army in the world, the strongest army in the world, the most proficient intelligence, whatever, will not guarantee Israel's security as much as a just and comprehensive peace would. We, in this part of the world, need to find a way to share these holy lands in peace.
So what you say, I mean, basically the Israeli public does support the war because they want, A, their people back, and B, they don't want to live side by side with Hamas at all, ever again. They don't want to be in that situation under that threat. You said it doesn't present an existential threat.
Let's just talk about...
Hold on a second. I mean, the question is, how, if it was you, and you were to give a speech or a visit to the Israeli people who said to you, but Queen Rania, you may have a peace treaty with us, but look what Hamas did to us on October 7th. What would you say to them about how they should, I mean, you've talked about the history, but there's such a trauma that everybody we talk to right now says it's still as if it is October 7th, even though Prime Minister Netanyahu's ratings are in the dumpster. They don't support him, but they do support the idea of not having that threat anywhere near them anymore.
You know, I would say that as devastating and as traumatic as October 7th was, it doesn't give Israel license to commit atrocity after atrocity. And Israel experienced one October 7th. Since then, the Palestinians have experienced 156 October 7th. You know, they have been going through this every day. And prior to October 7th, they have been living in 50 years of oppression, of occupation, of having their movement restricted, having every aspect of their lives dominated, being humiliated. If I speak to the Israeli public, I would say, if you want your peace and your security, you have to address this big injustice that's on your doorstep. There is no shortcut. There is no security measure that is going to bring the more hopeful future and the stability that you want in your lives, other than finding a way to live with Palestinians. Israeli leaders must stop treating the existence of Palestinians as an inconvenient truth, as a demographic challenge, as a mode that needs to be mowed every now and then. Palestinians are here to stay. And so we have to find a way to live with one another. And we have to be able to rehumanize, to be able to see the humanity of the other our humanity reflected in others' eyes. You know, an Israeli mother should understand that a Palestinian mother cares about her children just as much as she does. And there's just no way around that. I don't believe that peace is just about politics. Peace is about state of mind. It's a culture. It's about values. And those are the values that really need to be addressed. And they're long overdue.
Queen Rania, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Kристиан.